She came in and she said, I'm fat, I'm fatigued, I feel terrible, and I'm only 32. Can you help? Hi, I'm Dr. Jack Schaefer. I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine here in Colorado as well as a functional medicine practitioner. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about vitality and wellness. So that's a true story. This person that just came into my office a little bit ago, and she said that she was 32 years old. She was overweight. She felt terrible. She felt like she was too young to feel this bad, and she needed help. And I have to be honest with you, this is a story I get from people on a regular basis. They feel terrible. They're not sure why. They're not sure how they got into this boat, and they need help. You know, when we look at a problem like this, right, it's so multifaceted that there's no magic bullet. And I think that's really frustrating for people because it's not like they can just take a magic pill or make one little dietary change. Oh, I'll cut out gluten and my whole life changed. That's true for some, but it's not true for most. You know, so we grow up from childhood. Most of us are born nearly perfect, and we live this great, resilient childhood. We fall down, we heal. We eat terrible, we bounce back from it. We get sick, we're over it in a matter of days. This is just the way of childhood. We're so resilient. But the problem is, as we age, little by little by little, our resiliency goes away. And as we lose our resiliency, the habits that we've started earlier start to accumulate in us. So we become fatigued, chronically ill, easily sick, autoimmune disorders, overweight, all these things that start to happen to us as we age. And then one day there's a straw that breaks the camel's back. And then we wonder, God, why do I feel this way? What happened to me? I'm only 35. I'm only 45. I'm only 60. There's no reason we should be feeling this terrible that soon. And so I guess, there's two sides to this problem. One side that's worth discussing is how do we get into this boat? And the other side is how do we get out of this boat, right? So I'm not going to talk how we get into this boat today because I think that's something that we can save for another conversation. But it's all about lifestyle, Do we smoke? Do we eat terribly? Do we not exercise enough? Do we do the wrong kind of exercise? Do we not manage our stress properly? Do we not get enough sleep? All of those things can be an issue. That's a boat for another day, okay? But what I do want to talk about is how we get out of the boat. Because that's when most of us are coming to this conclusion that there's something wrong, it's too late to change history. So we need to start figuring out how to change the now. So in my clinic, we do a few things in this scenario. I like to take people through a step-by-step process, if possible, to see if we can figure out all the places that they're short-circuiting and all the things that we can do to fix it. Okay? So, for example, I like to start with people's gut. If we start with their digestive system and the food and fuel that they put into their digestive system, we can actually probably fix a huge number of things most of the time. Because, if we think about it this way, we only get energy three ways: eating, breathing, and sleeping. So when it comes to eating, that breaks down into two things. The fuel we put in our body, so what's the quality of the things that we put into us that we are using to make us? Do we want to be made of fast food? Do we want to be made of a bag of chips? Or do we want to be made of something better? So that's one aspect. The other aspect of food is, are there foods that are a problem for my body? That has to be figured out because some people's bodies can't tolerate certain kinds of foods. And that needs to be figured out, and those things need to be taken away. The second part to this is we need to figure out what's wrong with the engine. What's wrong with the way your body breaks down food, the way your body is using the resources that it absorbs from the food to make more of you. energy, muscle, bone, immune system, cognition, brain health, healthy eyes, all of those things. We need to look at that. If we can figure out those two things, a lot of times we can make massive changes in somebody's health. It's difficult to do on your own. It can be done, but usually that's where I like to start. If we can get your metabolic health better, then we can start to look at other systems like your sleep. We do most of our healing while we're sleeping. I don't know if you knew that. So if our sleep is terrible, where we're not falling asleep, or we're waking up a lot, or we're waking up exhausted, then our recovery isn't so good, and our ability to normalize our nervous system, our musculoskeletal system, our immune system, our digestive system, all of those things, they get worse and worse too. So we have to actually address that stuff. Okay. And the next thing we need to actually look at is our circulatory system. Do we have healthy blood flow in our body? If we're not circulating blood healthily through our body, we actually are going to have all kinds of problems. And many things can cause this. Inflammation, being overweight, those are really common problems that can make our circulation bad. But we have to make sure that all of our blood vessels, our arteries, our micro vessels are all moving blood smoothly and healthily through our body. Why? Because we need to get waste products out of areas of our body, and we also need to get healthy nutrients into areas of our body. And so if our blood is thick and sticky and our blood vessels are all clogged and plugged up, there's going to be a problem in our circulation, and that problem is going to lead to other problems down the road. So we actually need to address circulation. And there's a lot of ways to do this. I was thinking about it earlier. In China, a massive amount of the research that's being done around aging has to do with promoting healthy circulation in the body. And they use all kinds of interesting approaches to do this. Some of them are acupuncture, some of them are herbal, some of them are lifestyle, but they can make a big difference in people's health as they age. So, aside from circulation, so we've got food or diet, we've got metabolic health, we've got sleep, we've got circulation. Next thing we really need to look at is we need to look at stress. Not just emotional stress, but physical stress, and our body's ability to tolerate it, to balance it, to help us go from being in a stress state to a relaxed state over and over and over again. And so those are things we need to look at. If somebody has poor stress coping mechanisms or poor ability to go from the sympathetic dominance back to parasympathetic dominance, they're going to have health issues. Because when we're in sympathetic dominance, i.e. the state of running from a lion, there's no reason to get pregnant, there's no reason to be able to get an erection, there's no reason to lose weight, our digestion is bad, our hormones go weird. A lot of processes turn off when we're in that state. Problem is many of us stay in that state for hours and hours, if not days and days, because as a human, we can turn anything into a lion because of our mental state. Our mind can turn the mortgage, a stressful job, all those can become a lion. So we need to deal with them. So that's really the last of the ones I wanted to talk about today. So I think, when we're looking at ways to increase vitality, those are some tools that we use clinically in my office, at least, to help people get out of the boat, right? If we can help you get back to at least baseline, then we can figure out the ways you got there. Some of them are going to be obvious, like you lived on junk food, you smoked too much, drank too much, didn't exercise. Some of those are going to be obvious. Some of them are not so obvious. And those are ones that maybe take more detective work on my part as a clinician or our part as a team. So anyway, those are my thoughts on wellness, vitality, energy today. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can click the link below. You can also call the office, and I'd be glad to talk to you about your situation. Take care.